go.
I'd like to call the council meeting to order. Are there any special intentions today? I have one. Our former colleague, Gregory Carroll's sister, passed away a few weeks ago, and we just hope that everyone would say a prayer for his family. And Councilmember Kenny, will you lead us in prayer?
Lord, we thank you for the gift of your Son. May our entry into the mysteries of his life, death, and resurrection give us the confidence to live with unshakable faith in your faithful and abiding love. We make this prayer in his name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Councilman Shorworth, will you lead us in a prayer? Pledge?
Gentlemen, cover your hearts. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman. Council Clerk?
Yes, sir. You have a quorum this evening. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Next, we have correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads.
Mayor Glazer?
Thank you. Just a couple of comments. A few meetings ago, I commented about the repair of the railroad crossings here in Kenner. And on Tuesday, April 4th, I reached out to the railroad to find out. We see the materials are stacked up on the side of the railroad crossings, but as of today, only 2 of them have been repaired. So the response I got was, thank you so much for the follow-up. You are correct. All materials have arrived. The engineering teams have been tasked with several high-priority projects which have caused delays in this work being performed. The current ETA is to have your crossings addressed within the next 2 weeks, but for sure by the end of the month. So hopefully by the end of the month, your railroad crossings are repaired. If not, we'll follow it up again. The City of Kenner is participating in Louisiana's Love the Boot campaign. It's Louisiana's largest statewide litter removal and beautification effort. Kind of bring attention to the state's litter problem. The week of April 17th through the 23rd is the state's campaign. The City of Kenner will participate with the Louisiana Agriculture Center on Monday, April 17th at 9 a.m. here in LaSalle's Landing, where we will revitalize the butterfly garden, pick up the litter, cut the grass, paint the railings, which has already begun. You see, we've pressure washed a lot of the area, kind of put some finishing touches on it that week. Other private organizations here in Kenner have registered their outings. So if you want more information and to see who actually has something here in Kenner, it's keeplouisianabeautiful.org. And you have all the information. It shows you who's in the area has something going on the week of April 17th through the 23rd, which I saw we have a farmer's market coming to the Rivertown area starting next month. I believe it's May 6th. I don't know the times, but I know it's going to take place in the big parking lot on Williams Boulevard. And to touch on the recycling, distribution of the green recycle bins is underway. As expected, the distribution of the bins has had a few hiccups, but should be complete by the end of the month. And that's all I got. I was going to say a couple. As of yesterday, 4,443 of the new bins have been distributed. That's it.
Thank you, Mayor Glazer. Council Clerk?
Yes, sir. Do we have any resolutions, motions, or other items from the floor this evening? Seeing none. Under the consent agenda, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of March 17, 2023. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. Item 2A is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Discovery Health Sciences Foundation on April 29, 2023, at 3837 Loyola Drive in Kenner, Louisiana. Item 2B is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Friends of Rivertown on May 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th, 2023 at Rivertown, 2015 4th Street, being property owned by the City of Kenner. Item 2C is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Rotary Club of Kenner on May 6, 2023 at Rivertown Farmers Market, being property owned by the City of Kenner. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2319-23, Discovery Health Sciences Foundation, doing business as Kenner Discovery, to hold a public gathering on April 29, 2023 from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the purpose of a Swamp Owl Bayou Jam at 3837 Loyola Drive. And that will conclude the consent agenda.
I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, second by Councilmember McKinney. Council members in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda, we have item 8, public hearings and final passage. We have none. Item 9 is ordinances for the sale, purchase, transfer, lease, and alienation of immovable property. Item 9A is summary ordinance number 13,177, an ordinance approving the sale of the land and improvements located on Lot 10A, Square 41, Old Kenner Subdivision, Kenner, Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, bearing the municipal address of 501 Williams Boulevard, which lot and improvements are owned by the City of Kenner.
I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember Shorewalt to open the public hearing. Council members in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0.
Yes, Council President, we do have a brief presentation. This land and building is commonly known as the Castle. It's right across the street from the DMV. The city acquired the property per Ordinance 6427, adopted June 21st, 1990, which authorized the city to accept the property through an act of donation, which was recorded on July 10th, 1990, in COB 2347, folio 616. So this property was donated. The applicant in the case is Mr. Eric M. Rotz, 621 Daniel Street, 32 East Airline Highway. I'm sorry, 621 Daniel Street, Kenner, Louisiana, 70062. This particular property is located in the commercial core of the Rivertown Historic District. Everything around it is zoned Rivertown Historic District. It is located across the street from what used to be the porch and patio, but will soon be a ground patio. It's across the street from the DMV and where the planning department offices are located. It's also surrounded on two sides by the crossings. The city has determined that the property is no longer needed for a public purpose. An appraisal was conducted by Murphy Appraisal. They determined the fair market value at $305,000, and the applicant has agreed to the price. That concludes the planning department's presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Dufour. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this matter?
Greg Tapp, 3720 West Loyola Drive. Yeah, I do have one question. Why would we want to sell an asset as opposed to leasing it or renting it? Because that asset grows in value, it doesn't depreciate, and I don't understand why right now we want to start selling assets instead of retaining them and trying to get money either through a lease or rent. That's my question.
Well, looking at all the properties that the city of Kenner owns, some of them would cost too much money to benefit us in annual lease. The applicant that wants to purchase it is going to put it back into its original condition and put it back into commerce. So that's the reason, the cost involved in the renovation of that structure.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this? Okay. I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember Shorewalt to close the public hearing. Council members in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0.
I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember Shortworth to approve. Wait. Councilmember Wilmot? I'm good, thank you. Okay, you good? Anyone else? Have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember Shortworth to approve. Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay, opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 9B is summary ordinance number 13,178, an ordinance approving the sale of portions of lots 7 through 10, square 40, Old Kenner subdivision in Kenner, Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, which lots are owned by the city of Kenner.
You have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember McKinney to open the public hearing. Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0.
Mr. Dufour?
Yeah, thank you, Council President. The applicant in this particular case is Mr. Justin Gibson on behalf of CRC Property Management, LLC, 32 East Airline Highway, Kenner, Louisiana, 70062. The city of Kenner acquired this property on July 19th, 1983, pursuant to Ordinance 6869, authorizing the purchase of the land and building located on portions of lots 7 through 10, square 40, with the municipal address 405 Williams Boulevard, and the city paid $175,000 at that time. Subsequently, the property was used as various things. Most recently, it had been Gendusa's Italian restaurant. However, it burned down, the property was demolished, and the vacant land is a roughly 29 by 120-foot piece of property, which is actually not a legally developable piece of property in the city of Kenner. So the adjacent property owner, CRC, has requested to purchase the property. Property is located in the Rivertown Historic District, across the street from the parking lot, and also on the same lot as the planetarium. Now, I want to make sure that in the ordinance, it does indicate that the applicant will be responsible for protecting any easements, servitudes, et cetera. And the city does utilize the rear portion of Lot 7 as access point into the planetarium, and that will be preserved. The property was appraised by Murphy Appraisal, appraised for $70,000, and the applicant has accepted that appraisal amount. That concludes the...
Thank you, Mr. Dufour. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Mayor Glazer?
Yes, as Wendell said, this property doesn't conform to the current, I guess, size to build anything. The building that burned down was there many, many years. The adjacent property owner is purchasing it to hopefully soon add on and put that building back into commerce. So with all these buildings selling and coming back into commerce, the sales tax, and we'll have kind of the revitalization of Rivertown, where we have more foot traffic, hopefully in the near future. Near future, I mean, it's maybe next summer, 2024, so.
So basically, the purchaser of the vacant lot owns one of the buildings next to it?
Yeah, he owns the property, it used to be Da Piero,
Okay,
directly to the south of the lots that we're
Okay.
selling. So he's going to re-subdivide and incorporate the lots into that property and use that to improve and enlarge that use.
so there's no issue with that then, because it's not a new construction on that lot?
No, there's going to be no construction on that lot, and
Okay.
so it's going to be re-subdivided into the existing lot. I believe it's 10A
Okay.
possibly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else? Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember Kennedy to close the public hearing. Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0.
Got a motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember McKinney to approve. Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. We have none. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution recognizing the month of April as Fair Housing Month in the city of Kenner.
I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, second by Councilmember Brannigan. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 13B is a resolution authorizing participation by the City of Kenner in a global settlement in regards to national prescription opioid litigation, MDL number 2804, ND, Ohio, with defendants Teva, Allergan, CVS, Walmart, and Walgreens in conjunction with the Louisiana Attorney General's Office.
I have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, second by Councilmember McKinney. Anyone wishing to speak on this, please come up. Mayor
Yes, we
Glazer.
have one of the attorneys representing the city in this litigation will make a brief comment. I know he told us he can't go into specifics. He's just going to give kind of a overview. Those of you that were here 2 years ago, I think it was, in executive session where this deals with, that was the manufacturer, correct?
The manufacturer
is-
named Janssen, as
Okay.
well as the distributors Cardinal, AmerisourceBergen, and McKesson.
He'll fill you in on the second part of it.
Okay. Please state your name and address for the record.
Anthony Urpino, my address 2216 Magazine Street, New Orleans, Louisiana. And I'm here to answer any questions other than to say generally, this is a settlement that has been approved by over 90% of the states in the union. It's actually higher than that. We now are at 75% approval, critical mass among various municipalities throughout the country. The deadline for approval is April 18th. That's why it's on the agenda now. There are two major reasons that are known to all, so I'm happy to say it, as to why the settlement is highly advantageous to the city of Kenner as well as all other municipalities throughout Louisiana. First, in order to achieve the highest dollar value of the settlements, you have to reach a certain threshold, and that threshold is about 98%. We're inching up close to that, but not quite there yet, and we expect a lot of other municipalities to be joining over the next couple weeks. The second issue is that if this isn't joined, what has happened is the judge in the litigation that is based out of Ohio, it's a multi-district litigation in federal court, that everything's been removed to Ohio and consolidated there, has issued orders that will require a lot of steps to be taken within a very short period of time. That has been done, quite candidly, to incentivize people to accept this settlement. It's a message saying your life will be hell and you will wind up losing your case if you do not. Those are two things that I think are worth saying, but there haven't been any issues among the different municipalities up until now, but I'm here to answer any questions in case there are any.
Mr. Councilmember Wilmot.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I just had some general questions, primarily regarding any dollar values. I understand this does not have a dollar value to it. It gives authority, though, to work on a potential settlement. Is that correct?
Well, in terms of the dollar value, it does not currently have a specified dollar value for the city of Kenner. The dollar values of the amounts globally on a national basis for these settlements is a little bit in excess of $15 billion.
And as far as any settlements are concerned, those proceeds are going to be limited for the purpose, if you will give an explanation.
Yes, as you say, Councilman Wilmot, the proceeds will be limited for the purposes of addressing the opioid epidemic. Basically, after the tobacco litigation and what happened with those proceeds years and years ago, they weren't used for addressing tobacco-related problems, and a lot of different folks had issues with that. As part of the negotiations of these settlements, just as the mayor said with respect to the Janssen and the distributor settlements, it's the same concept at play. It has to be spent on opioid issues. Now, that can take all kinds of forms. It could be purchasing Narcan for various agencies like a fire department or a police department. It could be, in theory, building a clinic. It could be hiring help. It could talk about providing therapeutic treatment to folks. It could take all kinds of forms, and in order to get that money, what's been set up in the state of Louisiana, regardless or not of this issue, it's already been agreed to by all. This was part of what was approved last time in connection with the Janssen and distributor settlements, is that all of this goes through a board at the state level, and the application, you can consider it like a grant process. That's where the money goes to, and that's where the grant applications go for whichever is desired.
Is there, do you come back to this body at all, or is this the final?
For purposes of,
Request.
for purposes of this settlement and approving these settlements, this is the last, yay or nay. Do we want to do it or not do it? I can highly recommend it, but the deadline's April 18th. Now, there will be other, we hope, settlements in the future, but these are some of the bigger ones. Not quite as big as the distributor settlements, which was $21 billion, but the CVS, Walmart, Walgreens settlements are in excess of $15 billion, and the companies want them, the judge wants it, all the plaintiffs want it. It's just technically we have to sign off. We need to give the mayor authority to sign off on behalf of the city.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Okay. Council members in favor on this, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 13,192. An ordinance to approve an amendment number 1 to the engineering agreement with Shred, Kirkendall and Associates Incorporated to increase the not to exceed amount by $133,140 for a total not to exceed amount of $446,124.
Have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, second by Councilmember Brennan. Anyone wishing to speak? Mr. Morella?
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 51 years. I need to get an explanation why the increase of $133,000 in the cap.
Ms. Massoni?
Yes, sir. This is to repair a portion of the 24-inch force main that is on the site right now, where it leaves the top of the ground and goes underground, and also to add structural supports to the 14 influent lifts, force mains that go into the influent splitter box at the station. This station services 31 lift stations, 26 are city and 5 are private. So these are important because of the land. This station was built in 2006, so you have settling, so this is important. So they have to engineer has to design these improvements.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Massoni. Yes, that transfer station is very important, and it takes care of a lot of North Kenner, and this is a serious situation that has to get done.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Joanne.
Council, anyone else? Council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 13,193. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Beverly Construction Company, LLC, to supply batcher dirt and sand on an as-needed basis in accordance with seal bid number 23-6721, and an amount not to exceed $100,000 annually for the Department of Field Services.
Have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, second by Councilmember Brannigan. Is there anyone wishing to address this item? Bill, can we just, is this contract, we already have a contract in place, we're replacing it?
Yeah, this is
or-
a standard field services contract we use regularly.
Okay, and I noticed the bid came in at $163,750, and the not to exceed amount's $100. Why?
Well, it has to do with, it's as needed, and due to right now our staff shortages,
you maybe only be able to move 100,000 of it.
Right.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. Councilmember Shawwa?
How much we paying per load?
I don't have the contract in front of me, but I can let you know.
Okay, yeah, just give me a buzz, let me know.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Councilmember McKinney?
Yes, I just want to, they provided some background information. This is a different contractor, and it's actually cheaper than the previous contractor, so I think that we're getting a good deal on dirt.
Anyone else? Council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 13,194. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Bow Brothers Construction Company, LLC, to provide asphalt street maintenance in accordance with seal bid number 23-6719 and an amount not to exceed $1 million annually for the Department of Field Services.
I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, second by Councilmember Wilmot. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? I do have a question. Is this a replacement of a contract?
Yes. Same
And,
thing, a standard field services contract that we use yearly.
okay, and Bow Brothers had it before, or?
No, Barrier had it before.
Barry, okay. All right, thank you. Anyone else? Councilmember Wilmot?
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Dunn?
I want to know why it says that that they rejected the lowest responsive bid.
That was a mistake that had been corrected on the original sheet. Yes, it was signed by the previous director. I redid the sheet and corrected it.
Yeah, it's been provided to the clerk to replace us back up, so it was just, they checked the wrong box. But just to note, if someone rejects something, they have to give us a reason. So if you notice, there was no reason for the rejection, so.
Councilmember Wilmot?
Thank you. And there's, the amount, of course, is $1 million, and the type of work, of course, is very expensive. But I wanted to see what was in our figures last year. This is $1 million. What was it last year?
Yeah, we've spent 1.4 over the 2-year contract, so it was a little more. So we're going to $1 million this time.
But this is annually.
It's annual.
The other one was buying.
Well, they're all annual contracts, but they usually have another option to renew. So it was $1 million each year, but what was spent so far is 1.4.
Okay, so even last year and the year before it was
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You asked for $1 million.
Yes, they asked for $1 million.
Okay, thank you.
Look, the only thing I want to add to that is a 2-year contract that is used mostly for the resurfacing of asphalt streets throughout the city. So
Sure.
it's used quite a lot.
Yeah, I know, it's very important. Thank you, Jose.
Councilmember Shawwa?
I'm gonna hit you another one. How much we paying per ton?
On which item?
Just call, get,
I have the contract.
Oh, you have
with me.
that?
I have it on this one. Just which item you talking about?
on asphalt,
Hot mix or wearing course or binder course?
either, or both.
For binder course, we're gonna be paying $115 per 1,000 tons, and for the wearing course, $135 for 3,500 tons, which is just a little bit higher than what the contract we have now.
Okay, that's great.
Councilmember McKinney?
Is this is actually paying for the materials and the work, or is it just for the materials?
Materials and the work.
Okay.
Anyone else? Council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 13,195, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from All Star Electric Incorporated to provide traffic signal system repairs in accordance with seal bid number 23-6722 and an amount not to exceed $300,000 annually for the Department of Field Services.
Motion by Councilmember Shawwa, second by Councilmember Lahat. Anyone wishing to comment on this item? Councilmember McKinney?
Yes, for this one, I noticed the information said that this is a new contractor or a new contract. Who provided this service, the traffic signal system repairs previously?
I don't know, I think that's a mistake. I believe was All-Star now, and it's gonna be All-Star on the new contract.
Okay.
It's a new
Yeah.
contract.
It's
So
just a new-
the previous administration had two different contracts, so we went through an emergency and an everyday one, and for a period of time, we only had the emergency. So All-Star had provided a similar service to us before, but this
Okay.
is new
Okay, I just
normal
didn't know if this
contract.
was something in-house that was going, like going,
No.
so it was something that they've done before. Okay, thank you.
This is a new maintenance contract.
Okay.
We are gonna be bidding an emergency contract soon to allow us to mobilize in case of an emergency, a hurricane.
And that's
tornado,
specific
and-
for emergency, and they were using it intertwining or something like that. Okay, thank you.
And when you look at the bids, the winning bid was 903, and the second was 2.297, so we got a good deal.
And this is all on an as-needed basis. You
Right.
know, we do have individuals that can work on the traffic signals on a day-by-day, basis, and we do have limited equipment. So we only gonna exercise this contract when we really cannot do the work.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 13,196, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsibility received from Beverly Construction Company LLC to provide concrete flat work on an as-needed basis in accordance with sealed bid number 23-6723 in an amount not to exceed $250,000 annually for the Department of Field Services.
We have a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, second by Councilmember Lahat. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none. Council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15F is summary ordinance number 13,197, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsibility received from State Block Incorporated to provide masonry supplies in accordance with seal bid number 23-6720 in an amount not to exceed $75,000 annually for the Department of Field Services.
Got a motion by Councilmember Brennan, second by Councilmember Wilmot. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15G is summary ordinance number 13,198, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsibility received from Arco Company Services Incorporated to provide labor and parts to repair a Cummins 600 kW generator number 1084 in accordance with letter bid 23-2047 in the amount of $15,482.35 for the Department of Public Works.
Got a motion by Councilmember Brennan, second by Councilmember Dunn. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this matter? Mr. Teft?
Greg Tapp, 3720 West Loyola Drive. Really what I have is just some questions that I would like to see if I can get them answered regarding this, because the work itself I'm not objecting to. I just want to make sure that we're following what we're supposed to be doing. And one of them is, this is Cummings as I understand it. And from what I hear, that this was brought up in 2022 and that it needed to be repaired. So my question is, why are we waiting now to get it repaired instead of dealing with it in 22? The other one is that our service requires that the dealer services the item, for example, Cummings. So is ARCO a certified service for Cummings? I know they are for another source, but I don't know if they are certified to work on Cummings and replace parts in Cummings. The other thing I have is that, is ARCO using parts that Cummings recommends or has on to be used, or are we using universal parts? Because the purchasing department, on something like that, you'd want to use what that specific vendor says needs to be used, and not using what we call aftermarket parts. And the other thing is that I understand, I could be wrong on this, because typically y'all prove me wrong all the time. But what I understand is that Jefferson Parish has a contract set up with Cummings, and I guess what I'm questioning is why wouldn't we want to utilize the Jefferson Parish contracts? Because generally speaking, in the past, I've seen you vote on contracts from Jefferson Parish, from other entities that are doing business. And then the other one is, that was it. Thank you.
You're out of time, Mr. Taylor.
Can I?
Okay.
I'll start it
Mayor-
off.
Mayor
We'll have a-
Glazer.
We'll have a little, several people want to speak, but first thing I'd caution anybody that comes up to this podium questioning anything, do your own homework, don't rely on someone else. This is the same letter Mr. Ziwi sent to everybody. The information is absolutely incorrect, and the owner of the correct ARCO will probably say a couple of words, the process that he followed. All of y'all got the information broken down to every question about how the process went. This generator went down in 21. It wasn't repaired till we got in office and found out it was broken. Cummings came in, said it was $15,000 something to repair it in whatever, October, I think it was. So being that it was too much to repair, it had to go out for bid. We sent it out for bid 3 times. Being that this is a FEMA reimbursable expense, you have to follow the FEMA bid law. So when you have one company, it doesn't meet FEMA's 2 bids until you send it out. Cummings bid on the first time when they came out. Ironically, Mr. Ziwi's letter to me says that, I guess, I don't want to paraphrase, I just want to make sure I get it right. So it knows, he knows, and I really don't want to kind of screw it up. His formal protest, because everything said here was pretty much straight out of Mr. Ziwi's formal protest to this proposed litigation. I'm opposed to doing any business with an alleged corrupt company. Honestly, integrity, good character are important to the citizens of Kenner. Is my formal protest to the proposed litigation as written. And this is where it gets even better. Unfortunately, you have and continue to fail in all 3 of these areas. It appears to me, as 47-year resident of Kenner, that you and your administration set out each day to support the notion of stupid is as stupid does. So this is what we're dealing with some guy like this. So what do you think Cummins asked us to do? The company that he's at bat for, he wants us to split the labor and parts in their first quote back in October. Do you don't think that skirts the public bid law? But this is what we deal with every day. We spent hours dealing with this stuff. Y'all know, y'all have all that stuff, but you got somebody complaining about the wrong company. It's 2 different companies with a similar name. But he's going to question the honesty and integrity of this administration, this company that does stuff all over Louisiana, all over the Gulf South. Jefferson Parish doesn't have a Cummings contract. They have an ARCO contract. We went through, if you want to see the emails, ask us for the emails. You see where the Jefferson Parish directors say they have none. So that's about, I'm finished with my rant. Like this happens every day. We spend a lot of time with people sending public records requests, accusing stuff. You got the wrong company. It's exhausting trying to get the city back up and running when you got to stop what you're doing every day. Paul Jose spent probably a half a day, twice this week, dealing with and researching this stuff for something that shouldn't even take place. It's the wrong company. So, you know, I just got to set the record straight when you're like, I'm not here griping about the process. It's, look, we all signed up for this. So that's what you got to do with it. But I'm going to set the record straight when you have people come up here and just kind of throw some stuff up there and hope somebody questions something. It's like the owner of ARCO here, he can probably say a few things about the bid process he went through. I've never met the guy, have no idea what it was, but I know he sent us all a letter on his process. So if he wants to speak on this, I guess it's up to you to recognize him, but that's enough for me.
Thank you, Mayor Glazer. Appreciate those comments. Would you like to, could you state your name for the, and
Certainly.
address for the record?
And thank you for letting me speak. My name's Thomas Sanders from ARCO Power Systems. I'm the president of ARCO. I've been employed there since 2009. In 2009, just to reiterate, yes, we were the winner of the Jefferson Parish contract. We service Cummins, Caterpillar, Kohler, every make, model, brand that you can imagine. We're an EGA certified shop. We teach our technicians that way. That is the Electrical Generator Systems Association. We go through rigorous tests with our technicians. We are electrical contractors. We've been a company here for 31 years in Louisiana. We do service the state, Jefferson Parish, East Baton Rouge Parish. I can name dozens of parishes from here throughout Louisiana. We also work in Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida, and our contractors there as well. We do buy our parts from Cummins, and these parts will come from Cummins. And as a distributor for Generac, we service Generac, Cummins, and just as much as we all help each other, we do work with each other, we sell parts to each other, and if needed, we help each other get into proprietary software. This job does not need that, but we feel more than capable and have done similar work over 100 times. We service around 2,500 generators per month, and we'd be happy to do your work. And I can answer any questions on our business, our ethics, and our procedures. We are a part of a larger construction group. We are an ESOP, and we take our reputation very seriously.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this matter?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Power?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to point out that I emailed to all of you yesterday around noon, I believe, the responses that would, to the questions that Mr. Ziwi presented at the end of his rather condescending and insulting letter, which I feel strongly about. I prepared the answers in cooperation with the work of a whole lot of city employees over a lot of time spent, in my opinion, wasted responding to the scurrilous comments of Mr. Ziwi. Apparently, he just wishes to remain in the limelight. I don't know what the problem is, but the vast majority of his allegations are simply untrue. The business about why don't we use contracts that Cummins has with Jefferson Parish, Cummins has no contracts with Jefferson Parish, and we verified that through Jefferson Parish. Their contracts for the repair and rental of generators is with ARCO and has been for a very long time. I believe Mr. Sanders said since early 2000s. I had copies of the contract since about 2018. So I know that they have been doing the work for Jefferson Parish for a long time. In addition to that, this generator is, I believe, 11 years old, possibly older. It is not in warranty, and there is no warranty that would be voided if they don't use Cummins parts. Mr. Ziwi's insistence that it had to be a certified Cummins repair company was not in the bid specifications. And in fact, our investigation shows that the only certified Cummins repair facility is Cummins. And we don't need Cummins to repair this generator. It can be repaired by anyone qualified, and they are certainly qualified. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Power. Anyone else? Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, Councilman, the only thing I want to add to all of that is that by no means we're trying to favor ARCO to get this work. Being that the city is requesting FEMA reimbursement for this work, this repair work had to be bid 3 times. The first low bidder, only bidder, was ARCO. It was rejected. The second low bidder, only 1 bidder, it was ARCO. It was rejected once again. The third time it was bid, we had 2 bidders. FEMA requires 2 bidders. ARCO was the low bid, and that's why we're here today to award the contract to ARCO, because they were the low bidders. This is a generator that needs to be repaired. We're heading into the rainy season. We're heading into hurricane season. There are 5 generators at this wastewater treatment plant. All of those 5 generators must be in working order. Heaven forbid that we lose commercial power to that wastewater treatment plant and we don't have all the generators working. Can we get by with 4? We probably can get by with 4 in working order on a temporary basis. We need 5. We need to move with this item. Really, it could have been anyone that could have low bid, okay? We're not favoring ARCO in any way or form.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Councilmember McKinney.
And Brian. Yes, thank you, Council President. I just want to say thank you to ARCO for continuing to bid. I mean, I think if they, they could have very easily, if they've been rejected twice, not bid, and then we would be on this ongoing cycle. So thank you for sticking with us, and I'm happy that we actually got 2 bids so we could actually move forward with this. So thank you very much.
I'm just wondering if I get a call on my cell phone about my extended warranty, if I could just refer them to Would that be cheap or Mayor?
Okay. Everybody can laugh. Okay, I do have one question. How long is it going to take to fix it?
As soon as we get a notice to proceed, we'll order the parts directly from Cummins. As soon as the Cummins parts get to us, we'll start work within a week. So we don't have the ETA yet from Cummins because we haven't been released to order and proceed.
Are they pretty quick at getting parts out? Or?
For the most part, yes. I mean,
Okay.
there's a lot of issues with backlogs on parts, as you can well imagine.
Right.
But we will communicate that through the proper channels, and we will definitely make sure that we expedite anything that we can for you.
Thank you. And also a comment on the bids, we definitely getting the best deal for sure when you look at the 2 bids.
No
You
problem.
don't need a brain surgeon to figure that out. Okay, thank you for
for
coming
your-
up and speaking. Anyone else? Council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15H is summary ordinance number 13,199. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Gremco Incorporated to supply ink cartridges as needed for traffic division in accordance with letter bid 23-2048 in an amount not to exceed $20,000 for the Department of General Services.
Got a motion by Councilmember Lahat, second by Councilmember Wilmot. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15I is summary ordinance number 13,200, an ordinance ratifying the emergency repair of 35th and Ole Miss Lift Station electrical control panel by Tesco Controls Incorporated in the amount of $6,450 for the Department of Wastewater.
Got a motion by Councilmember Brennan, second by Councilmember McKinney. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15J is summary ordinance number 13,201. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from New Light Electrical Wholesalers, LLC, to provide street lights and accessories in accordance with sealed bid number 23-6714 and an amount not to exceed $300,000 annually for the Department of Field Services.
We have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, second by Councilmember McKinney. Anyone wishing to speak on this item?
Yeah.
Councilmember Lahat.
Yeah, just a couple of questions. I haven't dealt with a light bid before. Really 2 questions. The spec sheet shows specific lighting poles for various areas, one of them including Lake Town, which we need lights out there, 6 poles. The second half of the spec sheet just has generic things like fuses and spacers. The second question is, the bid was for $800,000 and the amount's up to $300,000. That's probably an elemental finance question I don't grasp yet. I'm sure Elizabeth can answer that real quick for me. But those are 2 main things I'm kind of want to understand about this.
Yeah, so basically when we write the spec sheet or when the department does, they kind of include everything that we could possibly need, and doesn't mean that we're going to order everything or that quantity of the item. Quantities are just there as an estimate, but if the item, as long as the item was bid, we could purchase however much of that item, or we could purchase none at all. So we just estimate based on our usage, the amount that they're asking for. I think it's $300,000 for this one. So that's what we average
To spend,
use.
okay.
Yeah, so if we would buy everything that we quoted, we would have to pay them the
The
800.
800,000.
Yeah,
So it's just not necessarily we're going to buy all this, but it's just something that.
correct.
Some things are needed, like the Lake Town lights, which I'm going to request we do, but, okay, that answers my question. Thank you, Liz.
We only gonna purchase on an as-needed basis. We have multiple type poles, and we have multiple type fixtures. So in every one of these contracts that we have here today is to purchase or issue work orders on an as-needed basis. The cap that is shown there, we may never reach those caps.
Got it. Thank you, Jose.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I just,
Wait, Councilmember Dunn.
is this an annual contract? Yes, it is. Okay.
This is gonna be a 2-year contract.
3,
2.
2, okay.
State your name. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Councilman Brannigan, and my name is Ryan Nugent. I live at 5444 Erlanger Road in District 3. I'm going to apologize in advance if I cover some things that have already been covered because I prepared some of this commentary in advance. Following the last council meeting, I filed a public records request for a copy of this bid, and I individually examined each of the 144 line items included. The city received only one bid for this contract, which is intended to provide for all of the city's street lighting needs in the next, I thought it was an annual bid, but it sounds like it's for 2 years. This is an as-needed contract, meaning that we're not actually ordering any of the items or quantities listed. The bid request lists all of the street lighting equipment that we currently own, or in some cases plan to purchase as retrofits, and sets the price that we'll pay for said items if we end up needing them in the coming year. Per state bid law, we're locked into the specifications field services provided in their bid request, and this is where we have a problem. A number of the line item specifications are either not consistent with best standards and practices for such installations, or they lack sufficient detail and leave us in a gray area of bid law. Over the course of the last couple weeks, I've reached out to several of your offices regarding this contract and the lighting issue more generally. I'd like to extend a very gracious thank you to Councilman Lahat and to Councilwoman McKinney for giving me the opportunity to speak with you on the subject, and I also apologize for the inevitable headache that may have followed. Clearly, this is a lot to absorb. Concerning the matter before the council, I'd like to amend my previous recommendation to completely reject this resolution, but with a particular caveat. As I understand it, we can choose to put out an additional bid request in the future if we decide we want to order something different than what was specified in this bid request. However, if the council does approve this contract, the timer starts ticking the second the council clerk says the words "motion passes." City funds are too tight to waste another dollar on fixtures and installations that are not consistent with best standards and practices. And that's to say nothing of the years it will take to cycle out what's been done already been done incorrectly over the course of the last few years. If the council approves this contract, we have to make sitting down to examine the issue of LED lighting a priority. This could be facilitated through simple discussions with field services, by establishing citywide standards through legislation, or perhaps, most prudently, through a combination of the two. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions anyone may have on these matters now or at a later time. And I'd just like to add, considering some of the prior commentary, I have nothing against New Light. I think they're an excellent distributor, and the issues here really don't have anything to do with them.
Thank you, Mr. Nugent. Anyone else? Council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15K is summary ordinance number 13,202. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Signal Equipment Company South Incorporated to provide traffic signal parts in accordance with sealed bid number 23-6713 in an amount not to exceed $300,000 annually for the Department of Field Services.
Got a motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember Shuttleworth. Is anyone wishing to speak on this issue? No. Council members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15L is summary ordinance number 13,203. An ordinance authorizing a cooperative endeavor agreement with Jefferson Parish accepting a contribution of $282,368.67 towards change orders number 1 and 2 to the agreement with Hard Rock Construction LLC for the roadway construction of West Esplanade Avenue at Duncan Canal. Mr. Chairman, we've received a request for a one-meeting deferral, please.
Okay. Got a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, second by Councilmember McKinney on the deferral. Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of lots 15A, 23A, 25, 26, 28A, 30A, 33A, 35A, 40A, and 95D, Square 133, Veteran Heights Subdivision, Kenner Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, into Lot 95E and amending ordinance number 11,062 adopted by the City of Kenner, Louisiana on March 17, 2016, entitled Unified Development Code of the City of Kenner, Louisiana, more particularly amending the official zoning map of the City of Kenner and rezoning Lot 95E, Square 133, Veteran Heights Subdivision, Kenner Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, from C1, Neighborhood Commercial, and R3, 3 and 4 Family Residential, to C2, General Commercial. Item 16B is an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, Square 158, Kenner Heights Subdivision into Lot 1A, and further approving a planned unit development for an office and warehouse development for the storage of recreational vehicles on Lot 1A, Square 158, Kenner Heights Subdivision, Kenner Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. Item 16C is an ordinance approving the sale of lots 13, 14, and 15, Square 21, Old Kenner Subdivision, Kenner Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, which lots are owned by the City of Kenner. Item 16D is an ordinance declaring 3 2013 Trek Police mountain bicycles and 25 Axon X2 tasers as surplus and authorizing their donation to the Harahan Police Department. Item 16E is an ordinance approving an agreement with Shahardy, Sherman, Williams, Murray, Resal, Stakelum, and Hayes, LLP, to provide legal services at an amount not to exceed $60,000. Item 16F is an ordinance approving an agreement with Rise Lemieux, LLC, to provide legal services at an amount not to exceed $45,000. Item 16G is an ordinance approving an agreement with Simon, Paragon, Smith, and Redfern, LLP, to provide legal services at an amount not to exceed $50,000. Item 16H is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsibility received from Trinity Tree, LLC, for a 2-year contract to provide grass cutting and debris removal in accordance with seal bid number 23-6735 in an amount not to exceed $141,365 for the Department of Inspection and Code Enforcement. Item 16I is an ordinance ratifying an agreement with Motorola Solutions for a contract administration and Astro System Advanced Package Service Agreement in the amount of $20,429.65 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16J is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a computer voice stress analyzer, including training, service warranty, and accident protection from NITV Federal Services, LLC, a sole source provider, in the amount of $11,180 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16K is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsibility received from Vulcan Incorporated, doing business as Vulcan Aluminum, to supply aluminum sheet and sign blanks on an as-needed basis in accordance with seal bid 23-6729 in an amount not to exceed $40,000 annually for the Department of General Services. Item 16L is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsibility received from Peretz Menswear Incorporated to supply uniforms citywide on an as-needed basis in accordance with seal bid 23-6733 and an amount not to exceed $30,000 annually for the Department of General Services. Item 16M is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsibility received from NOLA Painting and Finishing, LLC, to furnish and install roofing at Musbertolino Concession Stand in accordance with letter bid 23-2055 in the amount of $18,536 for the Department of General Services. Item 16N is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsibility received from NOLA Painting and Finishing, LLC, to furnish and install roofing for fire headquarters in accordance with letter bid 23-2054 in the amount of $17,400 for the Department of General Services. Item 16O is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsibility received from Trantex Transportation Products of Texas Incorporated to supply thermoplastic pavement markings in accordance with seal bid number 23-6730 and an amount not to exceed $100,000 annually for the Department of Field Services. Item 16P is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Fleming Construction LLC for the relocation of a sewer line at Lot L1, Airline Drive, in accordance with seal bid number 23-6725 in an amount not to exceed $355,315. Item 16Q is an ordinance authorizing the utilization of existing state contract number 4400023371 with Graybar Electric Company Incorporated to supply electrical supplies on an as-needed basis not to exceed $100,000 annually for the Department of Field Services. Item 16R is an ordinance ratifying the emergency purchase of a replacement fire alarm system from Siemens Industry Incorporated in the amount of $183,559 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16S is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Vehicle Parts and Equipment Company Incorporated to furnish and install police vehicle equipment in accordance with seal bid 23-6739 in the amount of $69,090 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16T is an ordinance approving a purchase from Covington Sales and Service Incorporated, a sole source authorized dealer for parts and labor to repair Unit 9026 in the amount of $38,333.08 for the Department of Public Works Division of Streets and Drainage. Item 16U is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Automated Control Systems Incorporated to provide preventative maintenance/service for permanent and portable generators in accordance with seal bid number 23-6726 and an amount not to exceed $150,000 annually for the Department of Public Works. Item 16V is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Compliance Enviro Systems LLC to provide sanitary sewer evaluation services on an as-needed basis in accordance with seal bid number 23-6731 and an amount not to exceed $300,000 annually for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16W is an ordinance approving an agreement with Sigma Risk Management Consulting LLC for consulting services in an amount not to exceed $100,000 annually. Item 16X is an ordinance repealing resolution number B17293 adopted October 6, 2022 and implementing requirements for the approval of the settlement of lawsuits against the City of Kenner. Item 16Y is an ordinance approving an agreement with Crossroads Centers Transportation LLC for wastewater sludge hauling and sludge trailer maintenance and repairs in an amount not to exceed $150,000. Item 16Z is an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the agreement between the City of Kenner and Blue Williams LLP to increase the not to exceed amount by $50,000. Item 17 is reports from the council and our special committees.
Council Clerk, we have a problem. Robin said that the things were not recorded, so you have to start over on the... Just kidding. Councilmember McKinney.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to say Happy Easter to everyone, and I hope everyone has a great holiday weekend. But I also want to call up Ms. Mariana Montero to talk about, she's from the Golden Change Organization, and I just want to give her a couple of minutes to talk to the council about something that she's doing in the community.
Ms. Please state your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. I am Mariana Montero. Thank you, Mrs. Christie, for inviting us to let you know. I am the founder and executive director of Golden Change Inc., which is a nonprofit organization, and the mission is to empower the ethnically diverse community, providing tools to prevent violence and improve the quality of life of families and individuals. Our objective is to improve a long-term and multiculturally sensitive education programs like all of us, what we are coming to talk today, and encourage and improve our mental health and the physical health. Golden Chain has been and will continue its partnership with the National Institute of Health, NIH, and the All of Us research program to educate and inform the community about the importance of participating in research to improve health outcome for all. The program has been, is going to last for 10 years, and the goal is to help researchers to know more about, to understand why some people are getting sick and others are healthy. The purpose also is to get 1 million people to register in this research program. The goal of our presentation in this today is to provide this information to you as a city official, and we can get more people to get involved and really help for the future generations. We had different benefits. One is that they get the DNA free, and also they know more about their own health. And today I invite two representatives from the two HPO, what are the health provider organization, which is LSU Health Science Center and Tulane Medical Center. And they will let you know a little more about how this participation is so important for you. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Valeria, for that.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Liz Beltran, and I am the site manager for the LSU Health Sciences Center All of Us program site. And like Mariana was stating, we're trying to include everybody in this research program, so we're looking for diversity. So we're trying to expand outreach in the communities you guys serve. By attending events, we have been approved to do pop-up events where we can come to you and complete the whole enrollment process with your customers or clients that you serve. So we're open to anything that we can do for your clients or the community members, and we hope that you guys believe in this program, and hopefully you can join also. We need everyone. We're looking for diversity. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you guys today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Blair Williams. I'm the project manager of the Tulane University site for All of Us. We are primarily located at 1440 Canal Street, which is downtown. And so one of the great things that we have is a mobile unit, which is a mobile clinic that we can bring anywhere. Historically, we have brought them to universities and colleges, health fairs, different organizations who have people who do want to participate in the All of Us research program, but are not necessarily able to get to our downtown location. So we want to make it as easy for y'all to participate as possible. Like Liz said, she's from LSU, we're from Tulane, so both of us are primarily downtown, so we would really love for the residents of Kenner to get involved in this research program. And please reach out to us if you have any questions. We're always looking for new opportunities to bring the mobile unit or pop-up locations to different areas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity on behalf of the HPO, the Health Provider Organization, and Golden Change. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilmot.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to give kudos to somebody who's he lives nearby, I know, but he's often present in Kenner, and we see him on occasion here at council meetings as well. But he's not that well known. But nonetheless, this guy's got a huge heart. I mean, he goes out there and does things that nobody else does. And I got to give him kudos. I know he goes out and feeds the homeless on a regular basis and has been doing so since the beginning of COVID. So a man like that, we're pleased to have him in a Kenner community and doing what he does. He's just outstanding. So again, I'd like to give kudos to Reverend Clay for that. He's just outstanding person. So thank you very much.
And I would like to wish everyone a happy Easter. Enjoy your weekend with family and friends. And I know everyone will be eating a lot of crawfish tomorrow. Miguez, the Holly Heights neighborhood, is doing an event at Miguez Park from 11 to 2, Easter celebration. And so hopefully they have a great turnout and great weather. Anyone else? Council Clerk?
Yes, sir. Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Mr. Greg Teft. Please state your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
Greg Tapp, 3720 West Loyola Drive. I really just have a couple comments. One of them is that I would like the administration, the council, to look at what I consider a critical part of Kenner, which is our employees. What I'm asking you to do is, I keep hearing we can't find people, and we can't find good people. Well, you can do that, but I think what we need to do is look at paying our employees, those that are out there doing the work, a minimum of $15 an hour. Now, if we have money to buy bins, and now that we're selling property, it may be that we would have those funds available so that we can take care of our existing employees and hire the ones that we need to get the jobs filled. These employees is what makes the quality of life in Kenner, period. You're shortchanging the citizens by not doing it and not taking care of those employees like they've been taking care of us. My next comment goes to the administration with the mayor. I never felt like asking questions was attacking the mayor or anybody else. I never felt like a citizen should not have the ability and the right to ask questions because the citizen is not going to do the homework. It's up to the administration to tell the citizens why we're doing what we're doing. And I don't know if we're looking at citizens as the ones that are paying the bills or if we're now going to be the all-encompassing that is going to dictate to the citizens what we're going to do. I don't think that's right. Asking questions we all learn. And I don't know why we would jump on someone for asking a question. And that's really all I have because I think it's just terrible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Teft. Mr. Al Morella.
Al Morello, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 51 years. I want to talk about, in lieu of the last 2 council meetings, the city of Kenner has paid out 2 settlements, the largest in the history of this city. I think what we need from the finance department is an update on the state of the city's finances in lieu of what happened over the last 2 meetings. Second, I want to talk about the school board, the Jefferson Parish School Board's decision last night at their meeting. First of all, I want to know, did we have any representatives at that meeting since 2 of the schools in our city, both of them in District 1, Granville T. Woods and Washington Elementary, are not only just slated for closure, they're slated for demolition. Now, 8 years ago, they tried to close Washington Elementary. Opposition from myself and other people, other citizens, and some negotiations by Gregory Carroll, then councilman, we was able to keep that school open. The reason why I'm talking about this is because the Jefferson Parish School Board can't be consistent on justifying the demolition of these two schools. They can't decide whether it's low enrollment. They can't decide whether the design of the schools is outdated and it's too costly to maintain. They can't be consistent in their reasoning. So that's the reason why I'm talking about it now. Next thing, Tuesday, April the 4th, marked 55 years ago that Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, at the Lorraine Hotel on the balcony. The reason he was in Memphis, Tennessee was to support a sanitation workers' strike where one of their colleagues was killed in a horrible accident, was sucked into the hopper on one of the sanitation trucks. So let's never forget what happened 55 years ago. This Tuesday marked that. Okay? Anybody got any comments, any questions for me?
Yes, I do, Mr. Morello.
I got any time left, Councilman Brannigan?
You have 39 seconds.
That's plenty time, man. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Councilmember Dunn?
Yes, I was at the meeting last night, and some of your comments are not really true. G.T. Woods will not be closed or demolished. Actually, this has been in the works for years about Washington Elementary. It did not come up under this administration, of their new administration, as it was told. Actually, the consultant gave an update, more or less, on that. But Washington will not, G.T. Woods will not be closed, and Washington will be closed.
I got another question for you, Councilwoman Dunn. Do you read the print newspaper, The Advocate, or do you use your fingers and push those little buttons with those electronic devices you have and read it on there? Because evidently, Councilwoman Dunn, you're not up to date on what's going on.
Mr. Morello, your 3 minutes is up.
Yeah, no, they will not close
Thank
Woods.
you very much, Councilman. Thank you,
They
Councilwoman
will
Dunn.
not close Woods. You got misunderstanding.
Mr. Nugent, Councilmember McKinney?
Yes, I do want to just respond. I did read the newspaper online, and G.T. Woods is not going to be closed. It was removed prior to voting on it. So I'm a little offended that you insulted my colleague and said she didn't know what she was talking about, because clearly it's not that case. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McKinney. Mr. Nugent?
Ryan
Yep.
Nugent, 5444 Erlanger, District 3. I'd just like to offer some clarification on a few of the points I've been making these last few months, and if I have time to address a couple of the most common questions I've received. And Councilman Brannigan, if you want to warn me when I have about 30 seconds left. I do have more to say on lighting in general, but I am actually hoping to wind down my comments on street lighting in particular. So to start, what do I mean when I say, as I've said many times, that lights and installations aren't consistent with best standards and practices? The easiest way for me to explain that is to actually provide a couple examples. One would be the warm 3000K shielded landscape uplights, which were installed on the palm trees at Vintage and Williams Boulevard. These fixtures were recently torn out and replaced with cold 5,000 Kelvin unshielded fixtures which blind and distract motorists approaching the intersection from Vintage. Another would be the LED fixtures that were installed along Veterans Boulevard. These fixtures are actually somewhat appropriate for veterans. The problem is that the same fixtures were used in several locations along Palm Vista, a quiet residential street along the lake. Obviously, a quiet residential street doesn't require a fixture with the same output necessary for a major thoroughfare like Veterans Boulevard. Again, these are just a couple examples for the sake of illustration. There are, of course, many more. So next item, I've talked about a lot of different things. What is it I'm actually advocating for? In brief, I'm advocating for any LED replacements, retrofits, new fixtures that are carried out or installed by the City of Kenner to give consideration to matters like safety, aesthetics, human health, environmental factors, and perhaps most importantly, the judicious use of public funds. I'm also advocating for the same considerations to be taken at such time that the city chooses to pay for or authorize Entergy to convert its streetlights from high-pressure sodium to LED. And number 4, for fixture types and styles that we are using in particular geographic areas, i.e. individual neighborhoods or streets, to be consistent once the factors that I've been discussing have actually been considered and once some citywide standards have been established. In terms of specific metrics, I suggest establishing a 3,000 Kelvin cap on the color temperature of all LED fixtures installed in residential areas. Color temperature is just one of the many factors that should be considered with every LED purchase and installation, but establishing the standard would be a great place to start. And so last couple things, and these are the questions that I've actually gotten a number of times. Do I think we
30 seconds.
should or shouldn't transition our remaining HPS fixtures to LED, and 2, are HPS bulbs and fixtures being impacted by DOE's no efficiency standards? The short answer to the first one is the jury's kind of out on that. Everything else that I've spoken on is based on scientific data. There really isn't enough for me to say one way or another on that one. In terms of the DOE standards and the impact that's going to have on high pressure sodium, to my knowledge at this point, there will be no impact on high pressure sodium fixtures because of the metrics that they've implemented. Thank you.
Time's up, Mr. Nugent. Thank you. I want to let everyone know that when you come to the podium, you have 3 minutes to speak. If you do not use your 3 minutes, you don't come back up and speak again. We changed that several years ago. I just want to make sure everybody understands you have 3 minutes. If you use 2, and then you ask for a response, you do not come back up at this meeting. That's the rules of the council. Okay. Walter Beach is next.
My name's Walter Beach. I live at 13335 West Mill Grove, Gonzales. I represent EMTs in the parish. I'm with EMS Reform. And I just want to update you on a few things that are going on. The state of EMS in Jefferson Parish is declining because of personnel and students that are interested in the program. There's barrier entry through the high schools for them to continue. Also, Delgado has a tuition-free program for EMTs currently in the business to become paramedics. The next thing is a feasibility study for parish-wide EMS. It costs $40,000. It was finished in 2021, so that's everybody's tax dollars in this. We have a resolution that should be on the agenda, so we have a board or somebody to look at it. And the emails that y'all received from some of our members, Councilman Impastato actually challenged me. He thought it was just me talking to him, and also he wondered why profits before patients is a bad idea. So that's where the emails came from that y'all received. And y'all received a copy of an email today. We just got that in from Scalise. Some of the things we're working on: mechanical CPR devices for all the fire departments in Jefferson Parish. How are you going to pay for it? Same way you're going to pay for, EMS, grants, whatever is out there. We also are pushing the Masons have a program for dyslexic children, but there's a barrier to entry to the schools. They put the therapist and the school together, the student, and they need a place to do this, and preferably it's in the school itself. So if you have members on the school board, you can find that program through the Masons. Just Google that. And I want to thank everyone in this building for their time, because it takes a lot, especially you guys up there, the mayor, the police chief, fire department. It's nice to see everybody in here, and hopefully we'll have a great Easter. So thank you very much for your service.
Thank you. Mr. Matt Hotard.
Matt Hotard, 66 Red Oak Drive.
Kenner, Louisiana, president of the Kenner Firefighters Association. My comments and questions have to do with item 16Z, which was on the agenda, pertaining to the City of Kenner and Blue Williams attorney group, decreased but not to exceed the amount of $50,000. I guess my question is to whoever could answer this is, what does the City of Kenner pay Blue Williams now? Is it a flat rate or is it billable hours? And does Blue Williams only represent the fire department within the city?
I can answer the question if you'd like.
Mr. Powell?
The civil service matters and the fire department, and they're paid on an hourly basis at the, with a maximum of $2.25 an hour as authorized by the Attorney General's office.
And so the $50,000 cap that's put on, is it an increase per year or just per services as needed?
It's all based on services as needed. But the cap is that when they reach that maximum, they can't do any more work for the city unless the cap is changed or a new contract is entered.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part. You said that Blue Williams only represents the fire department within the city of Kenner?
No, they represent the city in various civil service matters as well as the fire department matters.
Okay, thank you.
I have Nicholas Zach.
Name's Nicholas Zalva, 802 Dante Street, New Orleans, Kenner Firefighter Association Vice President. I'd like to take my time to discuss alternative funding sources for your Kenner Fire Department. Hearing the proposed ordinance to roll the millage last meeting and keep the status quo with regard to the upcoming budget concerns me with when recruiting and retention wane due to a lack of fire department compensation and competitiveness, which is abundantly clear as we lose many new firefighters under 5 years of service to neighboring departments regularly. Our city is long overdue and behind many other departments when it comes to sourcing dedicated funding to its fire department. I urge the council and city to consider this when voting to roll the millage. A fire department millage increase, additional ballot voted sources from water and sales revenue, as well as impact fees are options to how we can begin to rectify the many issues your fire department faces. We need this council and city's support to rebuild and replace the fire station that has been a trailer for years in the University City area, replace aging fire trucks, incentivize advanced training, and improve the overall compensation for men and women firefighters that protect your city. Because without them, you have no fire department. Council members, I ask again that you, city administration, and the Kenner Firefighters Association begin to work together to formulate and plan for a progressive fire department for the future and put the choice to improve your Kenner Fire Department to the voters. Lastly, I'd like to thank the mayor for urging our association to come here and speak publicly. And on a separate note, our Kenner Firefighter Association is looking forward to participating in the Driftwood Crawfish Cook-Off, April 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Oscar Cade.
First, giving honor to God. I'm here to address the mayor, not the council. I'm talking to my mayor. Mayor Glazer, we have a situation in Lincoln Manor that you need to look into, because when something happened, the news media are going to run to you. And I'm not going to let that happen because I want you for the second term. We have a problem. Councilman Glenn, I'm sorry, Councilman Dunn, did you give him this picture? Or did you let? I'm a certified flagger in the National Data Bank. I have all kind of certifications, Stop Work Authority. I also have AARP. But this is the most important one, the National Safety Council. So when I open my mouth, I know what I'm talking about. We got a situation in Lincoln Manor where somebody stuck a stop sign up on the 31st Street Bridge. That traffic jam, sir, started from that stop sign. The bus is just ahead of that vehicle. The thing that hurt me, if we have an emergency or something happened at that school, police units, fire units, emergency units cannot get through because the traffic is tied up 11 deep because the bus can't turn off the bridge with the cars right at the bridge. The bus has to sit there until somebody stops. Mayor Glazer, I stopped back and stopped that red car to let the bus get out. That's all that traffic was behind it. Now, solution to the problem, what I call and try to suggest, but nobody want to listen, but the mayor get them to listen, hopefully. All we need to do is move that stop sign at the bridge back behind the drain cover and then put a sign behind it saying yield to the buses. That way the buses can swing and come off the bridge and you won't get this traffic buildup. If someone get hurt at that school, we cannot get nothing in from that end with that kind of traffic congestion. So, Mayor, will you please look into that for me? And happy Easter to everybody. And I don't call the mayor personally because I know he's busy. It's going to take him the first term to straighten up the mess we in. Second term, we'll be all right. God bless. Everybody have a happy Easter. Councilman Dunn, I'll call you tomorrow. And I got a call from Washington. I'll give you that number in case we need it.
Thank you. Mayor Glazer?
Mr. Oscar, the stop sign went up because by ordinance, I don't know how many years ago, there was a stop sign that was put there. It came down, but on April 3rd, 3 days ago, we have a traffic study, a traffic evaluation being done for that stop sign. Okay. So we're working on it now, and we'll let you know what their recommendation is, and I know you'll let me know what, yes. Yep.
Okay, the only thing I'm saying, sir, if something happened back there, you're going to be on the news.
All right, we working on it. I'm trying to stay out the news.
I'm going to tell you what, I'm glad they put the stop sign up. He's almost got hit 3 times on that corner.
Now, y'all can fight outside.
Mr. Richard Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Richard Brown, 824 Sessions Lane in Kenner, Holly Heights, Westwood subdivision in District 4, George Brannigan's district. I actually came... Not for what?
I said you're out of time.
Oh, what can I say?
He's not
The man can only take so many compliments. Anyway, this is not actually what I came to talk about. I came to talk about the recycling situation, but that seems to be working pretty well, and I'm going to let that go. I'm glad to see that things are working out and people are getting their new recycle carts. I want to speak briefly on an item that was on the agenda for first reading, and that was number 16X, which is the proposed ordinance from Councilman Wilmot to implement a procedure for approving settlements of lawsuits. And I commend Councilman Wilmot for proposing this ordinance. And I have read it, and I like the purpose of it. I like what he's trying to accomplish, but I have one or two major concerns with it that I want to just bring up here in case I don't get to talk to y'all between now and the next meeting. The figure that he has inserted, at which point settlements have to be made public, is $500,000. Any settlements below $500,000 do not have to be made public. The amount doesn't have to be disclosed. I think that all settlements that the city makes, regardless of the amount, ought to be disclosed. They should not be secret. It's public money. I think the public is entitled to know. I hope that some compromise, some procedure can be worked out so that can be done without hindering the purpose of the motion. And at a minimum, since council approval is needed, I think, for any settlements above $25,000, that's a good cutoff figure. The charter requires council approval on all contracts above 50,000. That's a good figure. I just think $500,000 is way too high. I really think that every settlement the city makes should be a public record. That's it. And I commend Mr. Wilmot for his effort to improve this process. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Karen, Councilmember Wilmot.
I just wanted to make a brief statement. When it comes to that legislation, of course, we're going to hear it more in depth at the next meeting, because this was the first reading, of course. It's an improvement, in my opinion. Right now, we just have a resolution that says anything above 25,000, it's got to come before the council by resolution. That's all we have. So this proposed legislation gives more parameters, and it's more gives transparency, more transparency, especially with the high dollar figures. That's all I'm going to say. But next meeting, I'm sure it'll be vetted a lot clearer. Thank you.
Mayor Glazer.
I just want to clarify one comment I made is the only thing I said about citizens coming up and speaking at the podium is whoever comes up should do their own research. That's it. We encourage people to participate in the process, but do your own research. That's kind of all I would ask. Don't come up and read somebody else's research, because it might be flawed.
Thank you, Mayor Glazer. Ms. Karen Nugent. I apologize for making you wait, but you weren't on the list, so we had to add you to.
I'm sorry, I don't fully
Please
appreciate
state
the
your name and
process.
address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
All right. Karen Nugent, 5444 Erlanger Road in District 3, and the proud mother of Ryan Nugent. He had no idea I was going to speak today, so he's probably dying at this point. I'm proud of Ryan for many things, but especially his integrity, intelligence, work ethic, talent as an architectural designer, kindness, and his love of country and community. Ryan has attended and spoken at numerous council meetings in the past. I ask you to look around. Other than perhaps those who have been asked or required to be here, how many young people do you see in this room? Ryan is a citizen who is involved and dedicated to his community. Have any of you noticed the entrance to Lake Trail Estates? Up until September of last year, the area was so overgrown with weeds that the brick walls, signage, and garden could barely be seen. Even though he doesn't live in Lake Trail Estates, Ryan took it upon himself to make a difference, to weed, trim, mulch, rake, and clean, all with no power tools, for a good part of a hot Saturday and Sunday. Why? Because he cares. Ryan is also working on the establishment of a civic association for Aqua Vista where we live. Why? Because he cares. While the lighting issue may seem insignificant to you, it reflects what often happens. Ideas and policy take root in other parts of the country, but the South is slow to respond, if at all. While the lighting issue is being addressed aggressively and thoughtfully in many cities, it is clearly being ignored here. The days of simple light bulbs are gone. How confused have you been standing in front of a wall of light bulbs at Home Depot hoping you get the right one? Lighting is a complex issue, and without planning and forethought, the result can be a hodgepodge of different types of lights, colors, brightness, etc. And once this gets totally out of control, it will be costly and take years to correct. In the meantime, we'll have a haphazard lighting installations, excuse me. In the meantime, we will have haphazard lighting installations which often violate the codes we do have on the books. It conveys a sense of indifference, and it's just plain ugly. This is in addition to the health and safety issues caused by blinding lights and light intrusion. I can attest to this personally. I have several eye issues, and driving with glaring lights that look like they belong on an airport runway is dangerous. Lights don't have to be glaring to provide appropriate and effective illumination. I'm here to appeal to the council to foster Ryan's enthusiasm and commitment to make Kenner a better place for all of us. Ryan has devoted a significant amount of time researching and addressing the lighting issue, crafting reports and insightful emails, when instead he could have been working and charging billable hours to his clients. I realize that the council is constantly faced with many priorities, but please listen and don't just say, okay. Please do what you can to help him be part of the solution so he does not end up frustrated and defeated because no one is listening. He and others like him are our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nugent. Mr. Gonzalez?
If I might say something, the city right now has got roughly 7,200 street lights throughout the city. Most of them are high pressure sodium. Okay, we still have some mercury lights. Mercury lights are, pretty much have been phased out. The high pressure sodium lights will pretty soon be phased out. Unfortunately for us right now, LEDs, no doubt, that's the way of the future. In order for us to bring in and make the adjustments to LED on 7,200 street lights, it's going to cost a few $1 million. We're going to be working with Entergy to develop a game plan because we do know that high pressure sodium is going to be phased out, and LED is the future for us. Unfortunately, the money is not available right now. We're going to be looking for grants. We're going to be talking to Entergy, and we're going to develop a game plan because that's the direction that everybody's going into, and that's the direction that the city's going to go into, hopefully in the near future.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. I'd like to make a comment about Ryan, redoing the gardens because the city of Kenner needs the residents to take pride in the entrances to their neighborhoods, and a lot of the civic associations that are in District 4 maintain their entrances and keep them looking very nice because the city, as we know, having the lack of workers, any way that we can help beautify our city is move in the right direction, and community involvement with these projects in these areas is very important. And I want to thank you for doing that, and don't get frustrated. I've been doing it for 40 years in front of my civic association. But yeah, just keep it up. Thank you. Ms. Dunn, Councilmember Dunn?
I just have one comment. I don't see Mr. Morello, but every time he's wrong, he questions my ability to read. I just want him to understand that I was an honor student, and you don't become an honor student by not knowing how to read. I'm finished.
Okay. Anyone else? I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, second by Councilmember Wilmot to adjourn. Oh, crap.